Zach, it has been months and months in the making, but today is the grand launch of thank you, Noble Mobile. What on earth is Noble Mobile? Some people are thinking.
What is Noble Mobile, Andrew?
Noble Mobile, so check it out. Noble Mobile is a carrier that gives you the best of all worlds. So what are the problems right now with your mobile provider? Number one, they charge you too much. Number two, you're paying for an all-you-can-eat buffet when maybe you need to go on a little bit of a diet in terms of your screen time. And number three is they might be doing stuff with your data that you don't love. And so imagine if you had a new carrier, Noble Mobile, that charges you less and charges you based upon consumption. So you actually have a disincentive to doom scroll, pledges never to sell or resell your data for any purposes, and does even more because we partner with wholesome companies that can improve your life either in terms of financial health or mental health or community and living your life. And so what this means in real life is that you can get unlimited wireless for $50 a month, but you can get a rebate of up to $20 based upon the data you use or don't use during that month. So if you're, let's say, at home a lot or just in your home and your office, you can be on Wi-Fi and then not be using a whole lot of data, and then you might get a good chunk of that rebate back at the end of the month. And most Americans are spending right now $80 to $90 a month on their wireless. I was spending well over $100, so don't judge me. But if you were spending at the average, your wireless bill will be cut in half. And if you do the math on that, which you know I enjoy, you'd probably save, the average American would save $500 to $600 a year. And then you put an interest rate on that, and then you compound it over time, and it adds up to real money.
Simply put, it's the first phone plan that pays you to use it less. So let's dive in, man.
Yes.
Let's unpack. This is a long story.
What's fun about this is that I've obviously given any number of interviews and done podcast interviews and been on social media. And this has been going on behind the scenes for months and months and months, because obviously it takes a minute to launch a wireless company that can serve millions of Americans and save consumers billions of dollars in needless expense for their wireless. So the genesis of this was last year. A lot of it from me was like, hey, people are sad. They're sad because they're broke. And how can we make them less broke?
Yes.
And so then
this was right after the campaign, honestly. Like
after
2020, we're like looking around. We knew people were still pissed, and we had this network of comedians and podcasters and influence, and we were looking around for other ways to make people's lives less miserable.
Yes.
Been for a while.
And so we start with, hey, let's just give everyone money, which was the campaign, and we were still like chiseling away on that through politics and policy, but then that might take a long time, and a lot of people need money now. and so then you look around and say, okay, saving people money is almost as good as giving it to them. So what do we all spend money on? And that list goes housing, healthcare, education, food, fuel, and then transportation. So wireless and data might be number 7. Yeah. And again, that's about $1,000 a head for the average American. So if there are multiple people in your household, it might be a couple thousand. And so Mark Cuban did something incredible and awesome where he started Cost Plus Drugs. At this point now, it's been several years ago. And what he did is he bought generic drugs at bulk and then sold them back to the American people at a 15% markup. Right. Which is a fine business.
Well, because people are getting gouged, you could have a healthy business and save people a ton of money.
Yes. And so then I looked at this and said, okay, can you cost plus something else in American life?
Right.
And if you look at that list, housing, healthcare, education, food, fuel, transportation, it's hard to cost plus those things, but could you cost plus wireless and data? And so then the question was, how can we procure enough data for everyone to run their lives on their phone?
Right. How do we do this?
Yeah. And so the way to do that is you find a carrier to partner with that will actually give you access to, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of data.
Right.
and happily we managed to do that a number of months ago. But then having access to that network isn't all of it. Then you have to build a product and hire a team, and then to do that you need to raise some money. So then we had to.
This is what we've been doing. A lot of this.
Yeah, and shout out to Prof G himself, Scott Galloway, who, for those of you who keep up with me, you remember I was the number 7 TED Talk of 2024 talking about our politics. You know who number 1 was?
Our boy Scott.
Scott Galloway, and his talk was how America is screwing over the financial future of young people.
Most people listening to this, yeah.
Certainly a lot. And so I went to Scott and was like, hey man, how do we unscrew people? And then this is one way to do it. And then Scott was like, ooh, fascinating. And Scott became one of our earliest investors, and then then started going to other potential investors and funders. A lot of excellent people have invested, including, as one example, David Coe is the CEO of Calm. So we have a number of, and they're very wholesome too. I mean, they're genuinely about trying to make people mentally healthier. And so there are a lot of folks who have caught on to the fact that our screen time addiction is a glaring mental health issue. And then you have this financial stressor. And as someone who changed from Verizon to Noble myself, it was a game changer. And this is funny because obviously I was a believer and started Noble, but then I've been a Verizon customer for 25 years.
Right.
And so I had literally zero experience with switching carriers because I've been on one carrier my entire life. Now, most people listening to this, by the way, I'm going to try this out for a sec. So the people listening to this, there's a 90% chance that you are a Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile customer right now. And I'm going to speak just the Verizon customers for a minute because that's what I was.
Yeah, me too.
So this is you too. So we can talk about your experience.
For sure.
So Verizon is number 1 in the country in market share and is paying a dividend of 6% or so on its stock.
Right.
And so that amount of money is around, let's call it $11 billion a year. So Verizon takes $11 billion from customers that used to be me and you, and then just gives it to their shareholders in the form of a dividend. And if you know anything about stocks and finance, you know that 6% is a very healthy return.
It's nice. Yeah, that's great.
You just buy the stock, you just get the dividend. And so they're putting $11 billion in dividends. They're spending another several billion in marketing. They're probably spending another several billion in stores and rent. And so when you start looking at it, if you're a Verizon customer, you're like, wait a minute, are you spending money on anything that makes my life better if I'm not getting your dividend, if I'm just a customer?
Yeah.
Because you obviously need to be a shareholder, and it'd be one thing if they were actually giving cash to their customers. And here's another giant kicker. I don't know if this happened to you. Have you gone abroad?
Yeah.
Oh, so where did you go when you were a Verizon customer?
I went to Scotland. I've been a bunch of places on Verizon, and they charged me, I think it was technically $10 a day, but it was actually higher than that. There were some added fees on that as well.
They charged me $10 a day too.
And it wasn't good. It wasn't particularly fast.
It wasn't great.
No, it wasn't great.
So here's the trippy thing, guys. I switched from Verizon to Noble, which, by the way, took me 5 minutes, and I can talk about that at some length. Most productive 5 minutes ever, because I went from paying $140 a month, and that was what I was paying, to, let's call it, $46 a month.
Yeah, with cashback,
so I'm probably saving almost $100 a month. Then multiply that times 12, I might save $1,200 for the year. I mean, again, I was on the high end because the average person's not paying $140. They're not as big of a chump as I was. But when I went abroad, they also charged me $10 a day.
Yeah.
And on Noble Global, if you're a Noble subscriber, it's $5 a day
for the same thing.
And so when I have friends who went to Europe on Verizon or AT&T, and I think AT&T is now charging $12 a day. And by the way, I just want to point out, Verizon and AT&T do not have any towers or coverage.
Well, that's why we can say it's the same thing, because they have the same network.
All they do is they go to a foreign carrier and be like, hey, can our person piggyback on your network?
Yes.
And then can we pay you for the privilege? So by the way, Noble Mobile, nothing's stopping us from going to those self-same carriers and being like, hey, can we do the same thing?
Yep.
And so you guys wouldn't believe, we're charging $5, which gives you an idea of how much we're paying. because 5 is a fine business. And, Verizon and AT&T are charging 10 or 12 for, I'm going to suggest the same thing. And my friends are coming back from 2 weeks abroad or whatever and getting stuck with, like a $200 or $300 bill on top of their other bills.
Yep.
And that's per person. So in some cases, I had one parent come back and be like, "Yo, I had like a $500, like these crazy bills." So there are like all of these really, really extortionate business practices that the wireless carriers are engaged in because they're just like, well, you guys don't have a choice. And I will say that I was a chump for most of my adult life because it's like gravity. Like I just pay Verizon too much and that's just the way my life is.
Right.
And so changing in 5 minutes to Noble felt liberating. And I will say, like, I frantically called and texted people being like, "Hey, are you receiving this? Like, can you hear me? Because even I psychically was like, I needed Verizon in order for my phone to work. And I also want to let everyone know that every device manufactured from 2018 on has an eSIM on it that enables you just to direct it to another network.
Yep.
And everyone keeps your phone number, and that's from even before 2018.
Yeah.
So there are all these things that have kept us in place for a long time that just don't apply anymore. You can just tell your device to talk to another network. I didn't even have to call Verizon to quit a 25-year relationship.
It's a QR code.
Yeah, like you just went to Noble Mobile, and then they get a notification being like, "Hey, this person's off your network and on this other network." And my stuff worked. Same phone, same number, same everything. And for those of you who are listening to this being like, "How do I know the network works?" We will give you the first 2 weeks on Noble for free, so you can try it, and you'll find it works excellent, like just the level you're accustomed to. And if for some reason it doesn't work to your satisfaction, you can switch back to your other carrier, and I guarantee you they will cut you a sweetheart of a deal.
True.
Because
they're pissed to lose you in the first place.
Yeah, they're super pissed to lose you, and so like you can like get back on for probably 20 to 30% less than you're currently paying.
It'd be more than us, but still.
It'd be more than us, but there's no reason you would do that, by the way, because like you'll see. So what's happened, and I do want to give people context on this too. I made this purchasing decision back in the late 90s, I believe. Yeah. And at that time, the networks were competing on which network was the best.
Right.
And so I thought, I'm going to join Verizon because they seem to have the best network where I live. And then in the intervening 25 years or so, what happened is that all three carriers have invested billions of dollars in their networks to get them all to essentially parity.
Yep.
And so whatever quality distinction I was drawing 25 years ago stopped existing.
Yep.
And then I was just paying a premium for a commodity.
Yes.
You see what's going on? So in industry-wide, Americans are paying, let's call it $170 billion or so for wireless, and then another $130 billion or so for data if you include companies and like broadband and the rest of it. And so there's so much excess in there that if you had to find a number, it's 50 billion plus. If people listening to this switch to Noble and we get that up to a certain number, like my goal with this is to save American consumers billions of dollars on your wireless. And put billions of dollars back in consumers' hands. And one of the things that's going to happen from this is that there's going to be pricing pressure on the carriers, because they'll be like, wait a minute, like millions of people wake up and be like, why am I paying Verizon 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130? Like a lot of people would be like, I want it so that they actually have a hard time maintaining that crazy dividend, you know what I mean? Because they're like this cash machine right now. And I am thrilled to be able to make this case to folks, because getting money in your hands, and after you get this money back into your hands too, in the form of Noble, so you get Noble cash back in your account if you don't use a certain amount of data. We would then want to help you save that money by putting a 5.5% interest rate on any of the money you get back, that if you keep it in the account, look, it's your money. If you want, you can take it out. You can use it as a statement credit.
You
can just pay for your wireless. But if you keep it there, we'll pay you a 5.5% interest rate. And this is one of my pitches to Galloway, is like, how are we going to help people save, is by actually rewarding them to do so, to help them live financial principles painlessly.
Right.
Because right now it's painful. It's painful to save. we're going to make it easy to save by saving you money and then saying, look, if you keep the money in Noble, we'll give you the best interest rate we can.
Yeah.
Thank you, listeners. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, send them to mailbag@andrewyang.com, and we'll do our best to answer them. Thank you.
All right, a couple things. So the first phone plan that pays you to use it less is an unlimited plan, usually you want. If you use less than 20 gigs a month, most people are using 10 to 12, frankly. Most people aren't using the quote unquote unlimited. Most people aren't using anywhere near 20. Use less than 20 gigs. We'll share the profits with you. We'll give you cash back. You can invest it at 5.5% with us and get rewarded for that to stay, or take it out as cash immediately or put it on your bill.
Yes.
We won't sell your data.
Yep.
And essentially paying you to stop doom scrolling, essentially.
Reward you. And this is like a young person said to me that if they knew they were costing themselves a smidgen of money by spending that extra 45 minutes on TikTok or Instagram,
Right.
they'd be like, oh, what am I doing?
Naturally, when you start something, you get all your friends and family to join and test it for you. So I've been getting my whole family on Noble. And what my sister said to me was interesting. She said, so you're telling me I'm getting the same data I'm getting from Verizon, and we're powered with the T-Mobile network, T-Mobile 5G network. So you're telling me I'm getting the same data, I'm paying less per month for the same data, and you're giving me cash back if I don't use it all. She's like, that sounds great, but that sounds honestly like too good to be true. Is this a scam? Like, what's the hook? And is your answer there that we're all just getting gouged? And I think that is the answer, but I'm curious how you would answer that question.
That is the answer. It's just we're used to really somewhat predatory business practices because it's a marketplace where folks feel like they didn't have much of a choice. But if your sister feels like it's too good to be true, that's music to my ears.
Yeah.
And the goal should be that if you try it, and again, there's no risk to trying it, but if you try it and it works for you, and then you tell someone else, then we'll reward you for that.
I get it.
And for those who are listeners right now, we're treating the first 10,000 Noble subscribers as founders, where there'll be special perks for you. And if we grow to the way I think we're going to grow, then we're going to reward the founders for being in early. You can see the principle of what we're doing here. I mean, it's so fun. Yeah, where this is like the first values-based wireless brand, and we want to inhabit it with humanity, life, getting off your phone. So there's a joke going around the office too. It's like, not very noble of you, where if you're sitting there doom scrolling everything else. It's about trying to get people to live their lives offline, huh?
Yeah. Well, so I will say there's a couple things. So my brother, a year younger than me, he's like a Verizon snob. He was like, I'm pumped for this, good for you, but I'm like, stick with my Verizon thing. And I was like, can we please just try it as like second line? Like I need like feedback. We're in beta testing and like testing things out. Now we're live, but he tests it, and I'm a couple of days later, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Like, what do you think? He's like, honestly, the service here is way better on Noble than it is on Verizon. I'm pretty sure I'm switching my whole family. And that I've heard that dozens of times from our early members.
One of our investors on the West Coast, it turns out that they moved into a new house and it was in a dead zone on, I forget if it was Verizon or AT&T. And so then they switched to Noble. They showed me the phone and it just has Noble great. On it. They were like, oh, this. And I was like, oh my gosh. And this is a person who, frankly, like the money's not a motivator.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So the big thing, and I had this too, and I think you had this. You're like, I've been in a relationship, if you will, with Verizon for 20 years, whatever it is. What was it like switching? Like, how easy was that? Like, you talk about feeling free, feeling like you went through a breakup, but in a good way, like you're in a toxic relationship. Like, and I can talk about it too, but I'm curious, like when you switched, how easy was it?
So I think this is really important for people, and we're going to have more videos trying to break this down for folks. So here's what you imagine you'd have to do, is that you imagine you'd have to go to a Verizon store, call Verizon and
call
be like,
them,
hey,
do it the
I'm
whole
switching
line.
to this.
SIM card, like a physical SIM card, like switching.
Turns out none of that's true. Like what happens in real life is if you go to noblemobile.com, there is video and a process where it's really a setting on your phone. This is the thing that most people don't realize. And so when you get to the eSIM setting on your phone, you then direct it to the Noble Mobile network. And then there's a prompt. It's like, hey, do you want to switch from your current network? Do you want to notify your current network? And then I was like, yes and yes. Yeah. And then, it said, are you sure? And then I hesitated and then said yes. But then all of a sudden you saw the bars. It was quite magical. The bars on the phone like disappeared, Verizon, and then they reappeared in like this new Noble form. And so there was no visit to a store, no even call. By the way, like when I called Verizon, it was really unpleasant.
It's awful.
Yeah. And like, I joke about my relationship with Verizon, that it was like abusive or predatory or whatnot. And I think it was on a monetary level, because, like objectively, I was doing some math. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're paying
overpaid those guys. I've overpaid those guys so much over the years. But like, it's not like I hated Verizon. It's just like, it was just like, and breaking free of like an relationship was actually like an excellent feeling.
Yeah.
Because it made me think like, oh, wow, like if I can do that, what else can I do?
You're freed up. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I felt lighter. I felt scrappier. I felt like all this stuff. I by the way, that shocked me because I didn't think it was going to be like an actual emotional experience. This podcast is sponsored by Helix Sleep. I have been a proud, happy Helix Sleep customer for years now because my mattress just keeps on giving. I've always been someone who thought, you know what, you should invest in a proper mattress because you're on your back or your belly or your side for 8 hours a night. So I ordered an Ultra Dawn firm mattress and it has been a game changer. I've had it for, now years, and I'm telling you, total transformation. Go to helixsleep.com/yang for 25% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/yang for 25% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/yang.
Well, I'll add is like it is so much easier to switch your phone plan than people make you realize.
Yes.
And that's part of the gig. This part of the there's a couple things that are bullshit in this industry. One, they're gouging you. You're overpaying. It's like insurance. You're overpaying for the data hogs when the reality is you're not using that much. You don't need to be paying that much. Two is there's a shit ton of hidden fees. That's the other thing. It's like, oh, I get you at $85 a month, but you're paying like another $20 a month in BS fees, which we do not have. Like pay $50 a month, pay tax based on your state. That's it. Like a Netflix subscription, month to month, get out if you don't like it, etc.
By the way, I just want to say too,
sure.
Everyone has seen all these ads with like various prices on plans and discount plans. Yeah. And then when you get into the nuts and bolts of it, like there are a lot of fees on top of it.
It's a lot of it's all hazy.
Yeah, like the pricing is very opaque in this industry. It's one reason why we wanted to like lead and be like, look, $50 unlimited. You have to pay state tax on it, which, is unavoidable because it varied by state.
It varies by state. We tried to eat it and it was difficult.
But there are all of these fees that we just ate.
Yes, we eat a shit ton of fees, which is fine. We bake it into our price, which shows you how much you're getting gouged, frankly.
But what these other companies have done is that they'll like advertise these very low prices. And then when you actually pay, it's like, $8, $10, $11 more than whatever the advertisement was. And they're like, oh, there's all this stuff in there.
Yep, it's nonsense. Now, the other thing is they make it so opaque to switch, and it's very simple to switch. One, you can keep your freaking number. So what you do is you go to noblemobile.com, you buy the plan, and then you get showed, do you want a new number or do you want to keep your new number? If you're most of us want to keep your old number. Most of us are going to port. It's called porting your number in. Most of us are going to keep our number. And then we make it super freaking easy because it is. Basically, you need your account number from Verizon, and what's called a port out PIN, which is very easy to generate. You just have to do it on your Verizon account or your AT&T, and it is easy to find. They just don't advertise it. And you enter those in. You wait 30 seconds. You get a QR code. You scan the QR code. Your iPhone or your Android phone will go through a little like settings process to activate your phone. It takes about 30 seconds after that. It takes you, Andrew said 5 minutes, and that's because I love you, but you're sometimes you're Gen X, you know what I mean? Like if you're a millennial, Gen Z, you get this 2 seconds. And what we do is we have like videos on there to show you how you go find it on Verizon, how you find it on AT&T. It's very, very simple.
If you're a Gen Xer like me, feel free just to give us a call and have someone walk.
Yeah, sure. We got
through
people too.
Because like that's I mean that would have been my.
We got all the things. We got the chat bot. We have people on chat. We try to be very human. But anyway, we're trying to be the good guys of mobile because there aren't good people of mobile. Let me ask you this, Andrew. You've been doing a lot, and I've been doing it with you, but you've been doing a lot more on talking about and doing things to get people off their phone. And like, let's call it the brain rot and mental health. Cause I think we felt it I've, especially on the campaigns, dude, when we were like 24/7 on your phone, and when you were like really active on Twitter, like I felt our brain, like our tempers get shorter, our attention spans get worse, et cetera, et cetera. Thoughts on that aspect of this? Cause I think that's the real movement here is like, we really want people to like, there's a certain level of noble life where people are like my shirt says look up, like trying to look up, touch grass, like get out in the real world and get off your phone a little bit and have financial incentive to do it. There you go. Yeah. We will have some pretty cool merch. Andrew's wearing our no cap for you Gen Zers, which is actually kind of cool. For those of you who are not Gen Z, no cap means no lying, no lie. I guess I think I did that right. Well, it's similar to those of you who follow us at present. I thought we had pretty good merch. I think we'll have some pretty cool merch here too.
Brain rot is real. I'm friends with a guy named Jonathan Haidt who wrote The Anxious Generation, and watching him make this case has been extraordinarily invigorating and uplifting. And he's focused on minors, which is inarguable because it's like, hey, by the way, if you say to high school kids like, hey, no smartphones in a school, they'll scream bloody murder. Yes. And then after approximately 24 hours of no one having their phone, they feel great. They feel great. Yeah. A lot of it's just a social norm where like if other people were on your phone, you didn't have a phone, then that'd be a problem. Tough. But if no one's on it, then you're like, cool. And this is true at our offline parties too. You go.
We've been doing these parties, no phone parties. They're great.
Yes. And the next one is on September 18th in New York City. This episode will be out right before then, so there's still time for you to.
We'll have perks for Noble members.
RSVP
not sure what they are yet. Probably
offlineparty.com.
Honestly, we're not sure.
Or access to like the VIP area or something if you can like flash that you're already a Noble sub.
Yeah.
But offlineparty.com. And by the way, I'm old enough to remember going to parties and no one had a phone because phones didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like, as I was in college in the 90s.
I didn't have parties.
Yeah, no,
I wasn't invited in high school.
but we just show up and there'd be like, we'd all just be looking at each other because there's nothing else to look at. And the offline parties are like that because it's just a social norm where people aren't on their phones, and so you just start a conversation. People meet each other. So then the next one's on the 18th, but we're going to take them around the country and have some fun.
Andrew Yang going around the country, getting people, smacking phones out of their hands. Hopefully you've seen we got a new ad that came out today. I make a cameo. Ethan Dunn makes a cameo. Some of our team members make a cameo. It's pretty good.
I think the phrase that jumps to mind for me, Zach, is like everything in moderation. And are you actually interacting with your phone in moderation? If you are, you're probably better than me and 90% of us. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And so if we create an incentive for you to have a better relationship with your phone, then maybe you will, or certainly you will to a higher degree. Because you will feel like my young friend. It's like, I don't want to cost myself money, consuming this nonsense. And, and then you get money at the end of the month and you're like, oh, snap, that was good. And you start playing games with yourself and be like, maybe I can do better.
You can see, we got an app, you get a little dashboard, you can track your data, that's the other thing. A lot of these, like Verizon doesn't let you track your data very easily. It's tougher. And so for us, pretty easy.
Well, their incentive structure too. It's like, use a lot and then, don't pay attention. Like, and this is one thing that we built it the way we did is like, look, if you want to not ever think about how much data you consume, totally fine.
Great.
Yeah,
unlimited,
just pay for $50 for unlimited, and then you'll just like maybe be pleasantly surprised by your bill every once in a while.
Yep.
But in your mind mentally, and this by the way is like the approach I think most people will have, or many people will have, is just like, I'm mentally paying $50 a month, which is less than I was currently paying.
Yes.
And then every once in a while you get a happy surprise.
If I have a good month, great. And like sometimes I want to stream a game on the road, and so I might go over my data, and that's fine. I know what I'm paying.
This podcast is sponsored by ExpressVPN. How did you choose which internet service provider to use? The sad thing is, most of us didn't have much of a choice because ISPs operate a lot like monopolies in the regions that they serve. They then use this monopoly position to take advantage of customers, and yes, they even sell your data, your activities to advertisers and big tech companies, and you don't see a dime. That's why I protect my internet surfing and devices with ExpressVPN. When you use ExpressVPN, it's like a magic portal to a perfectly safe and anonymous internet. And don't take my word for it. This is the #1 VPN service according to CNET. It's used by major companies all over the world. So stop handing over your personal data to ISPs and other tech companies who then mine your activity and sell off your information. Protect yourself with a VPN I trust to keep my privacy online. Visit expressvpn.com/yang. That's expressvpn.com/yang to get 3 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/yang right now to learn more. Though I will say one massive kicker for Noble is that if you do tell a friend, then there'll be a real
month,
incentive for you and your friend.
And your friend, yeah.
And so then you can get a very happy surprise. I mean, I had one person say, it's like, I'm just not going to be paying for Noble anymore. And this person, for mobile. And the person is a hairstylist, so I can imagine it very, very easily. Yeah, that's the center of influence strategy. That's the thing. So, that's something very positive. But if you do want to look at the reward wheel and play games and do stuff, you can. I
got a couple questions. So one, we were looking at this, and
it's also called the Data Dividend. Just want to say, shout out to folks who've been with us since the original Data Dividend.
Yang forever. We had looked at one of the when you sign up for some of these bigger carriers, they'll throw in the kitchen sink with you because they're so desperate to gouge you.
Oh no, this is one thing you're talking about with the devices that I wanted to outline. You're talking about the device. So check it out. I use an iPhone 14 Pro, which I bought at this point a number of years ago, and I have not felt this pressing need to upgrade because, as far as I can tell, the successive iPhones have been very similar to my device. And this is a relatively recent development because there was a period when the upgrades were very, very real and important, and you're like, oh, snap.
Yeah, I get that better camera.
But
whatever.
If you out there have not felt some need to upgrade your device, you are in the mainstream and the majority because the upgrade cycle has lengthened for the average American consumer from approximately once every year and a half to 2 years to now it's stretched out to 3 to 4 years and getting longer all the time.
Yeah.
Because what we figured out is that just like the networks have essentially converged into high quality and you're overpaying for commodity, the devices have also started to converge in terms of their attributes and abilities.
Yeah.
So what has happened historically, and this has been true for me, is that I would periodically upgrade my device.
Yes.
And then I would be so smart and upgrade on a contract with Verizon and then have the cost of my new device
$60
amortized over, let's call it, a couple of years. And I'd be like, ooh, this is so smart. But really, the reason why the carriers can do that is because they're overcharging you by such an amount that keeping you locked up for these 2 years is we're gonna, think about this for a second, because a new iPhone from Apple might retail for over $1,000, let's say. And the carrier's margins are so fat that they're like, we will give you for free this $1,000 plus device just for being our customer for another couple of years. And I guarantee you, when you reflect on this for a second, Apple is not giving Verizon that phone for free. You know what I mean? Their margins are so thick,
fat,
that they can actually eat the cost of $1,000 device and just be like, all you have to do is be our customer for another couple of years. So when you think you're being smart, and I'm not accusing anyone of anything because I'm totally describing my own behavior.
I did this too. Yeah, we were dumb.
Where I just be like, hey, but one thing I've noticed is that I have not done it in years.
Because you haven't upgraded your phone.
Yeah, because I haven't. And by the way, like everyone listening to this is like nodding their head because it's like, oh yeah, like I used to feel like I needed to upgrade, but now I don't.
Yep.
So this is so like timely.
Yes.
What we're doing, like we're getting to folks right now when a lot of trends are culminating in the same direction.
Right. And so when we're looking at this, to point, Verizon's going to throw the kitchen sink at you because they can. And what are they throwing at you now? It's like, oh, free Hulu or free Paramount Plus or free Apple TV Plus for 6 months.
Or freeze your pricing for 2 years or whatever it is.
And so when we were looking at this, like, well, all right, that's sort of not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get people off of screen time. But what can we offer? And we've gone to a lot of partners to, I think, start getting to this point, which I think you and I have talked to. Like, we want the perks that come with Noble to eventually, hopefully, pay for itself, where you're feeling like you're getting $50 of value from other lanes as well.
One of the partners that I'm super excited about is Get Your Guide.
Yeah.
So when I took my family on vacation, we used Get Your Guide, and it's not it's nice, and it's not inexpensive.
Yeah, it's not nothing.
It's not nothing, but it was worth it.
It's about the same price, maybe a little more than your Airbnb experiences type of thing,
or like a tour group
it's a
type
tour
thing.
Yeah,
it's built into travel. And so Get Your Guide is providing a discount to Noble subscribers, where if you used Get Your Guide, it might be the equivalent of getting your mobile for free for a month. And from our perspective, that's a win. And by the way, like we're passing the entire benefit along to our subscribers.
Right.
So one of the superpowers that Noble will have is that we can go to aligned companies and say, hey, we have this community in the form of our subscriber base, and they're trying to live healthy, vibrant lives. Do you want to help them do that? And then we'll just pass the entire benefit along. And so from their perspective, it's like, okay, this is a positive, aligned customer acquisition channel. And then from our perspective, we're just going to go around and make it so that you feel great about being a Noble subscriber, because you're like, oh, if all I need to do is, use Get Your Guide once, and then it takes care, it's like a pay for type thing. It might be something you would have done anyway. Like I obviously did. Calm.
So we're doing the Calm app, with partnership with Back Market as well, because we want people to stop buying their phone through a big carrier. And honestly,
and
like
it's
more
going
to
to
come.
keep, it's going to keep on. We're having conversations with a lot of other wholesome brands. It could be someone listening to this also is like, hey, that's up our alley.
Yeah.
So the verticals are financial health, mental health and well-being, and then community. And so community can include concerts, it can include travel, obviously. Yeah. And there's so many fun things we can do with Noble. And one of our dreams, for those of you who've been hardcore, either human-centered economy, Samarity, but I have a dream. I have a dream that you could take like a picture of yourself on a hike with a few friends, and then
verified and
then everyone would get like a few bucks at Noble Cash or whatever. It's like you could do things just around positive, wholesome behaviors. And create like a totally different type of values aligned ecosystem.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a cook. I enjoy getting my meals. It takes a lot of consideration, and I don't like to think very much. There are a number of things I don't like to do. And when you get a Factor meal, it's going to be tasty, healthy. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready to eat. Just heat them up in a few minutes, and you will be eating fresh, healthy food in no time. My favorite is the horseradish encrusted chicken. And I have to say, you can tell the meals are healthy even as they taste great. That sweet spot? That's what these meals hit. Get started at factormeals.com/yang50off and use code yang50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code yang50off at factormeals.com/yang50off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/yang50off.
All right, so we've been gassing this up a little bit, which is great because I'm very excited about it. And all the questions are like, can I bring my own phone? Yes. Can I bring my family on? Yes. Can I work on my device? Yes. Is it hard to switch? No. Can I do a physical SIM card? Yeah. Like all the things you need in a phone plan, we've done, generally speaking. Let's shit on it for a little bit. There have been other celebrities recently launching phone plans. Trump in particular, the Smartless guys did. Our thesis in this industry and in terms of how we raise money, we think there's going to be a lot more of them. How is this not an Andrew Yang celebrity cash grab? Like, tell me more about, why this isn't, if I might be a skeptic, like Andrew's just trying to like get a subscriber to pay for some shit. Like what, like put me in my place.
Now, the main thing I would suggest is like, look, 9 out of 10 Americans are paying significantly more for their wireless than what we are charging and describing. And if someone finds carrier that they're happy with that is charging them what I think is close to true value, great.
Yeah, agreed.
You know what I mean? Now, I happen to think that we're going to do the best job because I know what our numbers are and I know what our values are. So we can be like, look, like we're going to treat you well. We're not going to sell your data to the extent that we realize these benefits.
Right, yeah.
We're going to share them, particularly with like our first founder set of customers. Like I know all these things.
Right.
So I'm very, I feel great about it. But if someone finds something else that works for you that is not extortionate, it's not sticking to you, like, that not taking advantage of you in various ways, more power to you.
Yeah.
And there are different ways to crack this nut, but I know that we're going to do right by our customers. And I know that 90% of Americans are paying too much right now for this.
And we should be getting off our phones. Like there's a why of like, we should have a more, what it is, like it's a more thoughtful relationship with how often I'm on this thing.
It's like we're going to reduce Americans' costs in this industry by billions of dollars. That billion is going to go right back into the pockets of American families.
Right.
And then we're going to put pressure on the industry to improve their practices, which I think is going to realize an additional X billion.
Yeah.
And there's so much meat on this bone. It is insane.
Yes.
Like when you start looking around, because again, 90% of us are paying too much for something that we use every day. I joke in some ways it's like oxygen, but everyone has to breathe.
Yeah.
But you're just paying for these expensive tanks.
No, seriously, man. I agree with you. So in the US, 10% of the market-ish has, let's call it the Mint Cricket Boost. It's called the Mobile Virtual Network Operator, MVNO market. That's 10%. In Europe, it's like 30 to 40%. And growing.
Objectively, Americans are just spending too much.
We're just going, So I think one of this, like if people join our network, love it, and then realize, I'm only using this thing like 2-3 gigs a month. Like I can do like a gig pay per gig plan somewhere else. Like great, right? And maybe we start offering that over time. But like that to me, that's a win. Like getting this industry better. The other thing, my initial thought was like, isn't someone on Boost or Mint or Noble in this case, aren't you like a second class citizen to regular T-Mobile customers? And I'd send this video when we were testing it out. I was at a Luke Combs concert. So we've been working this for a bit. This was last summer. So Luke Combs concert, trying out this network. And I'm downloading a movie on the Amazon Prime app. And it's like, I just got a screen recording, just like full speed, download it in front of like 60,000, 70,000 people, whatever, because they got the floor too. We're in like, so massively crowded stadium downloading a movie on data. The second thing is we're like, well, what happens when like everybody's trying to hit the same tower, et cetera? I've had Verizon, when you're trying to exit that stadium at MetLife, for example, no one has service. So you're paying $120 a month for the quote unquote premium to get on the network faster, when the reality is if Verizon or T-Mobile's network is busy, it's shitty service for everybody. That's where you're paying for this premium that doesn't actually exist anymore. And that's, I think, to me, the biggest unlocks. Like it's the same shit. And with us, there's a whole bunch of other like value prop and perks.
All right. So you've been listening to us spout off on Noble Mobile. What we'd ask you to do is just go to noblemobile.com and check it out. See if it might be a fit for you. If not, totally cool. But we've worked hard on trying to make something that's going to be an upgrade for 90% of consumers. It's been an upgrade for me.
And me. My family at this point.
And we are super pumped to get this out to folks, and this is going to be the apple of our eye for the foreseeable, because there are billions of dollars to be given back to the American people.
Yes.
Like it's a little bit of like, you know, the Robin Hood of data. It's like, you know, we somehow like got this data and we can give it to you at a rate that is going to save the vast majority of folks money. So do check out noblemobile.com. Switch if it works for you. Again, there's a risk-free trial. Check out the ads, share them if you like them. If you sign up for Noble Mobile and share it with other people, then there are all sorts of perks. There are big perks for the first 10,000 founding members.
Yes.
But we're going to build a very, very dynamic, impactful, values-based wireless brand that changes this market. Because this market, the reason why we got excited, Scott got excited, Investor got excited, is that you're looking at, like, broadly speaking, let's call it, you know, a $200 billion consumer marketplace that is way behind the times in terms of values, identity, treatment of its customers.
Humanity, yeah.
Like think about your own experience in this industry, is that you've just been dealing with these legacy utilities that are megacorps and are just like, you know, you're going to deal with whatever we're going to ask you to deal with because you don't have a choice. And it's well overdue for an evolution in the same way that every other industry has evolved. I mean, you look at, for example, cable companies, like everyone turned on the cable company because like, why am I paying for these channels I don't watch? Why are you paying for all this data you don't actually need or use or consume or want to use? Yeah. And so if we get you closer to your true value and then do that for millions of Americans, we are going to change this $200 billion industry for the better. And that's what we've been working on, and we'd love for you to join us. We're going to treat you right. Check it out at noblemobile.com.
And here's what I'll say, which is probably the best part for listeners of this, is that we're going to go around the country and quote unquote launch it in different cities with Andrew being there in person. So hopefully I'll be there too. So come meet in person. You can try it out too. It'll be fun, man.
Yeah.
The Noble members get some perks. It'll be great.
Offline parties coming to Boston. We're going to be in Buffalo
at the end
of September.
Buffalo and Boston, key demos.
Yeah, we're just, I mean, you know, we're going to be
We're going to be
mobilizing people all over the place, and we'd love for you to join us.
Yeah, noblemobile.com. Love you all. Try it out.